Alrighty, welcome folks. Trade Ideas Live Q&A. If you see a few coming in right away, so if you have questions right away, please get those in for me. If nobody has any questions right away, we'll take a moment, let a few more people join, and then we'll figure something to talk about, right? But again, anybody with questions, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Please get those questions in for me. It's important for you folks to ask the questions that you need to ask regarding the software. All right, doesn't seem to be anybody looking to ask any questions on the software at the moment. So, I don't know. What can we do? What can we do? So, all right, nobody seems to want to ask any questions. I guess we just look at a SPY chart to start with. Nope, not us. Boy, having a little trouble there getting the symbol in. So yeah, not that far off all-time highs at the moment here. Pretty close. Had a little bit of volatility back in the market after a couple of weeks of a little less volatility. We'll see how that all ends up shaking itself out here. You never know. These things are impossible to predict, of course. But pretty solid V recovery here, Pretty solid V recovery to this point. Like I said, just off all-time highs there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And that's the SPY. Dow Jones looks a little different. Look at that through the diamonds. Not quite the CMB recovery. But, we'll see what happens here. Consolidating a bit. Digesting it all. IWM kind of looks the same. And maybe even much less of a V here. So, we'll see what happens here. Trying to poke its head up. Couldn't quite do it. We will see what happens. Again, folks, any with questions, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Get those questions in for me related to Trade Idea software. Take a look at some of today's movers from the relative strength from open scan I got. Let's see. There's CERO. Had itself quite a moves, giving back sums, pulling back to the VWAP now. So see what happens there. But still up 172% at this point, give or take. HUSA, I know that's energy related. It's having itself quite a move here. Looks like a reverse split was done not that long ago on it. What will be the best time frame for day trading? It's a subjective question. You know, some people don't like to trade the open. Some people love to trade the open. You know, there is no best time. It's, you know, what your trading plan and what you devised for yourself on risk management says. But there's no textbook that's going to tell you, hey, this is the best time for this. RBNE, but keep the questions coming, Raj. Keep the questions coming. Anybody has questions on the software too, please get those in for me. So RBNE, up a cool 132.87% at this point here. A bit of a gap up and pull back in base. Really took off. Still holding up there right now. Yes, exactly what MB said. Time frame, you were consistently profitable. There's some people like 15-minute charts, some people like 5. There's no best on this. Again, there's no best. There's no such thing as best. It's like asking, you know, any kind of subjective question. You know, you go to a restaurant and you ask what's the best thing on the menu, and they tell you scallops, and you say, I hate scallops. Well, it's the best thing on the menu, though. It doesn't matter that you hate it, right? It's subjective. Nope, there's nothing that tells you the estimated resume. Sorry there, Abdullah. We can tell you when it's halted and when it's resumed, but that's it. That's all I can tell you. Bring over an alert window configure here. So yeah, we got the halt filter or halt alert there. That's it. And then the resume. That there as well. I have a scan that I pre-made. If you would like it, I'll share that out with you. Fairly basic. Let's see, just finding the link for that. Bear with me. There we go. And I guess we could open that. Why not? So you know, what we're doing in here is looking at stocks that have halted or resumed. And no filters, because we just want to see the halt and the resume. We don't care about the rest. And then put some columns in here. You know, maybe how many times it's done. So this thing is halted and resumed a number of times today, it looks like. And we got the price on the last alert. It's changed from the close. I wonder if this is a simple change, maybe. So that's all. That's all we got going on there. Do you have any plans to integrate Webull? Would we like to integrate Webull? Sure. The issue is, you know, will they come to the table and play with us? That, you know, that always becomes the issue. We can't make any promises that they will. They don't often like to answer to small companies like us. And the development is it is not a cheap fee to get these APIs developed. So it's a two-way street. They got to meet us somewhere in that street. If it's one-sided, there's nothing we can do. Moo, I kind of doubt it on the Moo side, to be honest. I won't say no, but the next up in integration will be TradeStation. They were able to meet us. We had some great meetings with them, and we believe work will start on it sometime in July. When it will be done, never giving a date on when it will be done. As the dev team says, things are done when they're delivered. And for the record, we have reached out to Webull in the past. It's been a couple of years since we talked with anybody from over there, and we got a resounding "we're not interested" from them. So, like I said, it's got to be a two-way street, can't be a one-way street. We have a field. There's a field for it. I don't know that it always fills or not. So let's see here. Yeah, description because of volatility. Resumed is just resumed, but because of volatility, because of news, volatility. Halted because of extraordinary events. Perhaps Dan knows something I don't then. Maybe he's talked to someone on Webull, but Andy and I do a lot of the reaching out for business development. And to this point, Webull has been crickets in our court for the folks that we've reached out to. So maybe Dan talked to someone we don't know about. No, I believe he said it. I believe he said it. SNSC. Wonder what those extraordinary events were. It's a heck of a move from a sub-dollar stock to $6 and change. And then MB. Sorry, I getting sidetracked there. If you go into the configure and you go to columns and you go to description, you put that column over, that'll tell you the reason on the halt. Superstream, that must have been Dan or somebody else. I don't have any Superstream. I'm not sure what that is. Probably one of their layouts, maybe. Dan will be here tomorrow. So I would say jump in and join Dan tomorrow for that Superstream. I'm going to guess that was him. And I'm guessing it's just a layout. Doesn't matter about the version as long as you're in the Windows download. If you get that link from him. There you go. So, yep, Trader77 said it was Dan. So he would be the one to talk to for that. Dan, I have it, but I can't post it here. If you shoot it in an email, Pepe, I can post it. And it's just a cloud link, Raj. It has nothing to do with if you're in the beta or not. It's a cloud link. So you just need the cloud link. Unfortunately, I don't have it. SuperStream's a multi-strategy. See if I can find it in some archives, maybe in Slack. Nope. Let's see if I can locate it somewhere. Yeah. Keep the questions coming. Keep the questions coming. I found the velocity vault that Dan had shared before. I don't know, maybe this is some kind of part of it or something. This is something I have from Dan here called the velocity vault. Pepe says he sent it. And here it comes. Thank you, Pepe. So there you go. There you go, folks. Big thank you to Pepe for doing that. Appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and load it myself and then save it, and I shall have it. Bang. Perfect. Excellent, excellent. Looks like someone else sent it over to me too. Sean, thank you very much. Appreciate it. That was kind of you both. Thank you very much. So it looks like he's only using some of the strategies in here. Unusual volume, 52-week high, trading above resistance, trading above yesterday's high, high volume, upward move, 2x average daily volume, 75% pullback from the low, post-market high, pre-market high, climatic move, trading up close to the high of the day, rallying off the bottom, and massive momentum. There's a whole lot of other stuff in here, but doesn't look like it's used. Interesting, interesting. Let's see, what do we got for VERV coming in with an alert right now? So it looks like it's a buyout probably. So, all right, let's jump through a few others. If there's no questions, keep the questions coming if anybody has any, please. But we'll jump, let's jump around and look at a few stocks again here. And we saw that already. GALT. Well, this thing just kind of climbing and climbing, big topping and bottoming shadows there. Some kind of therapeutics. What do you do? Who are you? Drug research, development therapeutics for disease, skin disease, and cancer. All right. Interesting, interesting. APPS, one of those wacky stocks. Back coming out of COVID, this thing did some insane stuff. Gotta hit the Wayback Machine here. Look at that. That was coming out of COVID. A great unwinding. But having itself a day today. Up for a cool 57%. Sticking around here near the high of the day. And if we use this picture in picture, let's go back a year. Yeah, it doesn't, got a ways to go till we see any kind of resistance here. Back into sometime the end of 2023, maybe. It's cleared its recent resistance for sure. So I would say a very positive reaction to its earnings from yesterday's post-market. EYEN. Having itself a bit of a day as well, up 73% from prior close. Just about all-time highs right now. And some serious volume coming in these. INDO, I know that's very similar to HUSA. They're both oil and gas. It's cruising along, grinding higher. But, not a clean grind, not a clean grind. And WTF. That's not very interesting. I mean, almost no shares traded, not very liquid, skipping around all over the place, big shadows. Not exactly a big float, though. Yeah, so SuperStream, it pumps out a good amount of alerts, it looks like, too. Just kind of looking since we started it here. So we're seeing some of the stuff that we looked at here coming through here: EYEN, INDO, GLT, APPS, a few others, PARR. So this thing moving pretty well here. More petroleum refineries. I suppose the recent news headlines are to thank for that. So what else? I mean, we looked at some charts, looked at a quick overall market shot there. What else should we do? We should do something with the software, right? Let's do something fun software related. Let's mess around and build an alert window and back test it, I guess. I am definitely no tech guy. But let's see, what do you say? Hi, seeing you're the tech guy, and without giving away any secrets, what is Holly made from? She an AI agent, and AI agent with autonomy. What is she? First, I would say that Holly is an it. I wouldn't give it a gender personally. Second, Holly is an alert window at its core. That's what Holly is. It's this right here. This is what Holly is at its core. But then it's back tested and optimized and all kinds of things like that, thousands and thousands and thousands of times overnight. And Holly is, I don't know, like 50 different alert windows all combined into one. And then the alert windows that back test and optimize the best, those are the ones that come each day. Those alert windows are known as strategies, though. So if we let's get rid of this. I guess we won't back test for a moment. We go to new and we go to premium AI strategy window, not the trades window. That shows us the alerts. The strategies window. These are essentially bond shorties and alert window. Breakout long is an alert window. Downward dogs an alert window. Topping formations an alert window. These are all alert windows. So these are the ones that back test and optimize the best. With that said, there's one caveat. This breakout long comes no matter what, every single day. Each day that it launches, no matter what, breakout long is always going to be there. So I think that might be something that changes in the not so very distant future, but you never know. But each one of these is an alert window. Now, the original alert windows that were put in there are nothing like the alert windows that these are now because of the back testing and optimizing. Some have limits to what can be tweaked in the optimization. So, for example, Mighty Mouse, the price range on this can't be changed. It's low price stocks. There's no changing that. The breakout long has to have high relative volume. Pullback long, pullback short, I believe those need high relative volumes as well. It can't be changed. Breakdown short, same thing. So yeah, those can't be, those have those limitations in the optimization part of it. But that's essentially what Holly is at its core. Just imagine, being able to run each of these 50 strategies or so, 50 alert windows, and run several thousand backtest and optimizations automatically on them. It's quite the endeavor, actually. So hopefully that explains a little bit, get you behind the curtains look a bit. If you have other questions, of course, fire those in. So, all right, we're going to mess around. We're going to back test some stuff for fun. Why not? So, do a little pullback scan. Let's add that. Position and range it. Let's see. See, it's pulled back some, but not too much. Go with that for a price range. Get the relative volume kicking a little bit here. Make sure we're up from the open, up from the prior day's close. Doesn't necessarily need to be a gap up. Can you have which window? Which window are you looking for to have from me? The one that I'm making now? I'll have to finish it first, and I don't know that's going to be anything good. If that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about a different window, let me know. All right, so let's mess around and back test this bad boy. Back test. Oh, all right. Let's open it up to 90 minutes. That will hold it for. Let's not enter until 10 o'clock sounds about right. Holly, you can open if you're a premium user, you can open Holly yourself. I can't. I'm not going to share a cloud link to it. You can go to, if you're a premium user, bear with me for a second. If you're a premium user, go to New Premium AI Strategy Trades window. Go to that, and you'll get this window here. So, okay, well, that's not a very good looking window so far. In fact, one might consider it downright terrible. Let's see if there's anything we can optimize. Price doesn't look like we do a whole lot on price. Time of day, I'd say even less. So I don't know that that's going to be very viable to start with, to be honest. Flip it. All right, let's flip it. And flip it, and then we'll run it as a buy. Wow, I'm not sure that that could be any slower. Might have to kick the hamsters. Get those wheels spinning better. Uh, yeah. First off, I mean, I wouldn't push anybody to penny stocks ever. I think that penny stock trading is kind of personally, but some people do very very well with it. But I think it's a tougher form of trading. It can be very rewarding, of course. So, well, Pepe does look a little better. We'll mess around with the optimization in a second, I guess. Get these items that just came in here. So, I would say start with the basic. You can build what you want, but you have to build it from within these 500 data points that we have within here. There's the alert events, which is like a new high, a new low. All these single icons are alert events, a thing that happened. And then there's filters. Filters are the dual icons here, your price range, your spread range, different volume filters. These all, you assign these minimum and or maximum values. So you have to work within these data points here to build your scans. But I do think that, starting with the basic, because, the premium, unless you want Holly, which, some people love Holly, some people don't love Holly. It's, kind of a preference thing. You get Holly, and then it's back testing. So if you're not looking to do a bunch of back testing, you're not looking for Holly, the basic would be suitable for you, I would say, Jeff. And you could always do this, right? You start with the basic, and if you ever want to move up in the world, that's easy enough to do, right? It's always easier to move up or upgrade than to downgrade. Upgrades can happen, fairly instantly if you reach out. Downgrades, you have to wait until your current cycle's over, whether it's a monthly or annual, whatever you decided to go with. So that would be my 2 cents there for you, Jeff. And of course, Jeff, if you have more questions, don't be shy, please. Raj, how to set up alerts for momentum stocks? Well, let me close this down for a second. So, what would you consider to be momentum, right? These are the things that I'd be looking for if I was building a momentum scan. I'd probably be looking for things that are making new highs, most likely, or a running up family of stocks, of alerts. You're running up now, running up intermediate, any one of those. And then as far as filters go, I'd be looking at these different volume filters here. I'd probably looking at, relative volume becomes a tricky one, in the sense that if you start with a high relative volume and the stock gets moving later in the day, it may take a moment for relative volume to catch up to get there. But that kind of becomes a split and hairs thing in what you're looking for in momentum, right? If you just want stocks that have been momentum for the day, look like they're going to start the day with momentum and continue the day with momentum, then you'd want relative volume, right? For sure. There's also our 1, 5, 10, 15, and 30-minute volumes that are intraday. Work on percent basis. 100 is normal, 200 is 2 times, 300 is 3 times the normal volume. Those are 10-day averages. You may consider the change filters. changing 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, going all the way up to 120 minutes. Those are both in dollars and percents. So you can try to find stocks that are making some moves right now. You may consider an RSI filter for momentum. 1, 2, and 5 minute would more likely be your options. May consider 15 minute. Not sure if you don't want 60 for momentum, but again, people have different definitions, exactly what they're looking for, their time frame. You have momentum stocks, I guess, there's swing trading momentum stocks, right? So absolutely could be that. Momentum is a bit of a subjective word, excuse me. So those are some of the things I would right away come to the top of my head as far as momentum goes. That said, there's also different candlestick patterns that we offer here. So you may consider any of these candlestick patterns as part of what you're trying to do. We have some options volume filters. So perhaps you want something kicking around that's also optionable. Use those filters to find it like that. Nope, the money machine is still in development, so there's nowhere to watch it with real-time users. Our CEO has done some experimenting with it live, but it's not a full version. It's beta. It's not even beta. I don't even know if it's alpha, to be honest. The testing that our CEO is doing with it when he does it live. So he'll be here tomorrow, noon Eastern, in this channel live. So that would be as close as you're going to get, but I just don't think that that's going to do it quite the justice as when it gets fully finished. Back to Raj's question. Gap, obviously a big momentum. Some people use a consecutive candles filter. I'm not crazy about it personally, but you may consider that. We talked about these change filters. Maybe you want to see something extended from the VWAP or something like that. Not sure that's what you want to use in momentum, but teach their own. That's going to really do it, I think, for as far as momentum goes. The rest of these, maybe the position in 5 minute Bollinger Band. There are some SMAs on some smaller SMAs on smaller time frames. Those might be considered for some momentum. Nope, there's 100 people on the waiting list, is what it says on the website. There's not 100 people testing it. So Jeff, I'm going to share with you a video on pre-market scanning. But then I'm gonna go over some stuff with you too. But just so you can take this and file it away for sometime later on, and you want to go back over some of this stuff. As far as pre-market goes, there's different things that we can do. So obviously we look for pre-market lows and highs, and then we can filter about above or below the pre-market highs by a certain amount. Later on in the day, we can use those. We got a position pre-market range. And then, a lot of these filters that I talked about and alerts, they're also usable in the pre-market. So if maybe you want to find something that's not necessarily at the pre-market high, it's pulled back, but that running up, or the running in general family of alerts, running up now, running down now, those will all work in pre-market. Back to volume. Yeah, I can post. I could do both. I'll give a room link, but I also have Barry's. You should be in the traders room. If you're not, as Pepe said, Barry's got stuff in the traders room. You should be in there. It's a phenomenal room. That's a traders room link. But here's Barry's homepage. To use one of my favorite words, it would behoove you to be in that trader's room with Barry. So yeah, Jeff, back to pre-market stuff here. The only one that's really not going to work pre-market that you'll probably want is the relative volume doesn't, but in its place, we have this volume percent today that works on a 10-day average. So, 100 means the stock is done. It's normal volume for the day. Anything more is extra. 200 would be 2 times, 300 3 times, so on and so forth. So if you have stocks that, they've done 15, 20, 30% of their volume or more in the pre-market, that can be significant. Doesn't mean it will be, right? Doesn't know, high relative volume doesn't always mean a stock is doing anything special, but it can be. This filter works really close like the relative volume filter does. So that's something to consider in the pre-market. What else? The change filters, things like that. Change from close, change from change over time period works in the pre-market. Also, these different change from close. Where the heck am I? There we go. Change from close, dollars or percent. Those are kind of the most popular things that are used in the pre-market. There are some alerts and filters that don't use pre-market data, so you'd want to not use those. Are SMA filters. Those aren't going to use pre-market data, so you wouldn't want to use those. VWAP does use pre-market data, so you could use that. So those are the kind of things I'd point you to. Jeff, if you shoot an email to info@trade-ideas.com, I have a PDF of what does and doesn't work in the pre-market that I can share with you as well. And in the video I shared to discuss that PDF exists as well, and shoot me an email for that. Happy to share that along with you. This way, you're just not putting time into a data point that's obviously not relevant to what you're doing. There's a lot that works in the pre-market, though. There's a lot that works in the pre-market. But something like a new high doesn't work in the pre-market, or a new low doesn't work in the pre-market. That's why we have the pre-market highs and pre-market lows for that. And no, thank you, Pepe. Thank you. What you see, Courtney, for the money machine on the website, it's a very early rendition of it, maybe a little ahead of ourselves on some of it. The idea was to get you in the top 3 momentum stocks on that scan. And as soon as one rotated out, for the one that rotated in, you'd get into the new stock that rotated in. It just didn't translate well to work like that once we started doing some testing and some actual simulations. So that's what you got up there. That's what you see up there. There's been a lot of logic that's been added to it for more in-depth, more complex, more dynamic entries and exits that you'll be able to program yourself, essentially. So that's what we got going on there with the money machine, Courtney. And Jeff, all right, perfect. Good. I'm just sorry, I'm trying to think of anything else relevant, like really relevant off the top of my head pre-market here. Oh, I mentioned the relative volume filter doesn't work. Relative volume alert does work in the pre-market. It's very similar, not exactly the same, but similar. And, one of the things you can do is you can have different alerts in there, and the alerts in a scan will work independently of each other. They just need the filters to be satisfied. So if one alert, let's say you have like 3 alerts and 5 filters in a scan, right? As long as one of the alert qualifications is met and the 5 filters are all met, you'd get an alert based on those filters and the specific alert that was satisfied at that time. So always something to consider, and I just tell people, make sure if you're selecting multiple alerts in a scan, the alerts relate to the filters you're using, right? So for example, if you're looking for something that's trading well above the VWAP and it's been positive over the last 15 minutes. Clearly, you wouldn't be using a 5-minute low or a new low or something like that on that alert, right? It wouldn't make sense to have that there. That's all. And then, one of the other things I always tell people is don't go too crazy and complex on a scan, at least not at the beginning. Generally, I say you want more data to come in than not, and then you can refine it from there, right? Well, I don't like this in the scan. Let me tighten this. It came in because of this filter. Let me tighten that filter like that. Or if I add this filter, it'll tighten the scan up to stop things like this from coming in there. And it becomes a give and take. You omit things that you don't like. You just got to be careful you don't omit things that you might like also. So I got a couple of minutes before I wrap up today. I have a meeting at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to depart a few moments early to prepare for the meeting. So keep them coming if you have some more questions for me here. Very nice end to the session so far. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate the questions a lot. It's a much more pleasant engagement when we've got these kinds of questions coming in on software. So, all right. I think if no other questions are coming in at the moment, I'll share one more time real quick the link to Barry's room. And I'm going to get on out of here. So I'll give you a moment with that. Oh, looks like you got it there. All right. Perfect. Looks like Raj got it. So, all right, folks, I thank you all very, very kindly for joining me today this afternoon. Well, at least afternoon on the East Coast. I know it's wrapping up the morning there elsewhere in the country. And it's even evening elsewhere in the world right now. So again, thank you all very much. You have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday wherever you are. And we will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.